Hi, I'm Alex.
My name is Sergey. We talk about table tennis.
We are Table Tennis 11.
We are talking today about multi-ball training.
What is multiball? It's an advanced method of training where a coach serves one ball after another using certain quantity of balls. How many balls do you need for this? What is the best quantity of balls for multi-ball training? We will come back to this and other practical questions a bit later. Meanwhile, we start from the topic why this method is really good and why it should be used for table tennis training, and also for which players it's good.
First of all, it is good for all players who want to improve their playing skills, starting with beginners and ending with top class players.
So, from beginners till top class players, are there any exceptions?
I see no exceptions. Beginners and top class players and all of them who are in the middle.
Okay, no exceptions, but what could be trained with multiball?
First of all, it is good for training the technique, the basics. And especially the beginners, they can start learning quite fast with the help of the multi-ball training.
With the beginners, it's clear. There is approach, or let's say, some people think that beginners have to learn basics, but after they become more advanced, they have to train more speed, power, endurance, and other skills. But all basics should be learned in the beginning of their playing career. What do you think? For advanced players, is it necessary also to go back to basics?
From my experience, what I see when I'm at the big competitions, world-class players, they also continue working to improve their technique and their basics. I think there is always space for growth even in these basics elements.
Okay, we understand the importance of training the technique for any level of players. But what about multi-ball? Why we should use multi-ball method for this?
First of all, beginners usually have a problem to return the ball in a proper way. It means it is not possible to play in that way that they would have the possibility to practice their technique.
For beginners, it's clear. What about professionals? They can play with each other, they can play with the coach. They are playing quite stable. For the technique training, do they need multi-ball also?
Of course, they need multi-ball because, first of all, they will receive the constant flow of the balls as much as they want. So if they need 100 balls or 150 balls, they can get it without stop and interruption. Also, another advantage for the advanced players, it is that they have unpredictable ball. So if the player has very good playing skill, it is not easy for him to make complicated, unpredictable balls in regular exercise. With multi-ball training, it is very efficient to feed them with unpredictable balls.
So it's completely other way around. For beginners, you have to serve the ball easier, but for professionals, often it's not enough. And multi-ball method helps to serve very difficult balls for them.
Yeah, exactly. It is like this.
But would it be then training of the technique?
But for the technique, they need a constant flow, the world-class players or top players.
Yes, even top players, when they train hard or powerful topspin, they cannot manage to play 100 balls in a row.
And also, if the person who feeds the ball is quite professional, he can present small varieties for basic technique. So the height can be slightly different, and then the length of the ball can be just slightly different, but this slight difference is very important in the game. Also, there are some strokes which can't be trained continuously without the help of multi-ball training. For example, first topspin attack against backspin. Then usually in the everyday practice you can do one ball and then you have to continue with other strokes. But here you can make again 100 strokes in a row against the backspin, for example.
Yes, first backspin, it's absolutely impossible to train continuously without multi-ball. Of course, you can take defensive player, but this would be backspin strokes, but not the first attack.
It will be from the distance usually also.
Okay, we've finished with the technique training, but what else could be trained?
Footwork. It is very hard to imagine in today's modern table tennis how it is possible to improve your footwork without multi-ball. It is good to have good basics and basic skills, but you need to have good footwork to perform the strokes. Same as with the basics, you can endlessly perfect the footwork with the help of multi-ball training. Next comes combination. It is more efficient and comfortable to use multi-ball for combination training.
What do you mean by the word comfortable?
When I'm playing with a training partner, first of all, of course, I focus on my improvement. So I would like to improve the skills and the technique and the footwork. But also I constantly keep in mind that the ball should be in the game. For me, it is some kind of pressure that I have also to consider the needs of my partner. And this I would call not comfortable when I play with a partner.
Okay, let's finalize. What are the advantages of multi-ball training? The training process becomes easy, comfortable, and efficient. Coaches can easily control the training process. Depending on the task, depending on the object, they can make it faster, they can make it slower, or they can make it in a natural way, the same as it's in the usual game. Also, they can add or reduce spin, speed of the balls they are feeding. They can control the volume of the exercise. In normal training, they usually say you are playing 5 minutes, 10 minutes. They can add 1 minute more. But with multi-ball, they can do it very precisely. They can say, okay, last 10 balls. Okay, the last one. It's also very important that coaches easily can control the concentration of the player. They can play unpredictable ball to improve the concentration. So they can play suddenly, not according with the task they are doing, but different ball, and immediately the player has to increase his concentration. With multi-ball, which is also very, very important, coach can increase the level of the training. It's very important if you have a player who is growing fast, and if you don't have enough sparring partners for him, you can improve with multi-ball a lot.
Watching top players, I very often see that the points are played on such a high level, which can be only practiced with the help of the multi-ball.
Last but not least, it's easier to correct mistakes. You are practicing with the player, and the player can adjust his playing stroke. He can try different variations and choose which is the best. In our next video, we will touch the aspects how the balls should be fed. What is the technique of multi-ball training from the coach side? How to generate enough spin playing multi-ball, and all different technical aspects of multi-ball training.
For instance, how many balls are needed, which quality of the ball should be used, and which additional equipment might be useful in this multi-ball training.
See you next time.